All right, we're live. Okay, so it's pretty been a really wild day, and like I promised you guys in the previous video, I'd be doing a live stream, and joining alongside me, as we're talking about what's been going on today in motorsports related to the coronavirus is my co-host from RSN Trackside. What's up, Kelvin?
Not much, man. It's just a really crappy day in the world of sports in general.
It really has. And before we break down everything, because I know a lot of you guys are here for the motorsports purposes, I want to break down in my opinion. By the way, I know I'm mirrored now at the moment on my end. I don't know if it's mirrored on your guys' end. I don't think it is. But I just want to say, in my opinion, all the years I've been watching sports, this has probably been the saddest past 24 hours I've ever been a part of in sports. Started off with the NBA, with Rudy Gobert catching the coronavirus and the NBA being suspended. The next morning we wake up, his teammate Donovan Mitchell had contracted the virus, and then all the sports started suspending. MLB, NHL, PGA is actually still going. MLS suspending their activities. By the way, for those of you guys that are watching as well, give me your take. Any take is open, by the way, so put it in chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say about everything that's been going on today, specifically in motorsports. If you can, that'd be great. But the one that's really affected me the most was NCAA. You know, almost every power tournament canceled because of the concerns. Every conference, by the way, has canceled. And then the concerns would be about NCAA tournament. And March Madness officially not happening this year on the men's or women's side, but on D1. But it gets worse. The NCAA announced that they have canceled, and if I get a little emotional here, I'm sorry, this is just really tough to process right now. But winter and spring sports are canceled for not just D1, but D2 and D3. And it's really tough on my end. As you guys all know, obviously, I called the games for the Brockport Golden Eagles, and was supposed to call a Sweet 16 matchup on Saturday against Tufts. And no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to call any spring sports. The rest of the year. This shit. I'm sorry for my language. It just really sucks, man. It really does. And Kelvin as well. Both of us. We're both Brockport alums. He graduated a semester before I did. It's just a really tough day.
Yeah, it's one of those days that sit down and you realize that you've lost everything that you're accustomed to, and it's going to be a while. It's going to be a lot of sports where you're looking at 30 days. The NBA owners are looking at NBA and let's reevaluate ourselves in 30 days. NASCAR's going ahead with the next 2 weeks of not having fans in the stands, and Formula One is running without fans in the stands. So it's one of those things where you're like, all right, you're going to run races, but the people who bought tickets normally can only get to one race a year, and they're in Atlanta this weekend, and they can't go. They were today's the day the campgrounds opened up. You can't tell me that these fans aren't already in there. Now you're telling them they got to leave and they can't watch the race. They got to watch it at home. It's just insane. I mean, I understand it. They're looking out for the safety. With Rudy Gobert being diagnosed yesterday, right before tip-off, they canceled the Jazz game. And then you find out this morning, right when you wake up, Mitchell has been confirmed to have a case of it. His teammate in Utah has it. And then break it down, and you look at where the Jazz have been in the last 10 days, and it affects all 30 NBA teams. And then the NHL 5 hours ago has a confirmed case in the NHL where a player has it. So now the NHL has suspended their season with only 4 weeks left, and now you're looking at maybe they get the playoffs in full, and that's it. It's just one of those things. Then you get the NCAA. First, they announced yesterday they're going to play without fans, and then you and I were out eating dinner when that was announced, and we're sitting there talking like, I don't think this is over yet, and we really didn't expect it to be to this extent where it was all going to get canceled, and now it's canceled. And I know my heart goes out to you because you had that Sweet 16 matchup you were going to call. That's how you make your livelihood. That's what you do. You're a sports broadcaster, and first and foremost. And now that's gone for the spring from Brockport, and we got to hope that we're ready to go by fall. And what does that do for the seniors from the NCAA? Do they allow them to come back another year because they never got to finish the tournament?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. Immediately, I texted all the Brockport men's basketball seniors because they were not able to finish their season. Because they were having a dream year, conference champions for the first time since 2014, and they were 1 win away. If they won on Saturday, they would have had an undefeated season at home for the first time since the 07 to 08 year. And I know technically the men finished the year undefeated at 14-0, I believe it is, but that way it's just not the way you want to end the year. And but again, my heart, I just feel for the seniors, just really heartbroken, just a really sad day. But anyway, let's break down what everyone is here for, and that is let's recap everything that has happened in the wonderful world of motorsports in the past 24 hours. So starting around I think this started around maybe a few weeks or maybe even a month ago when the coronavirus was starting to be a concern. F postponed the Chinese Grand Prix. Obviously that was where the epicenter of the virus is, and they're probably going to cancel more stuff now, especially with the stuff going on in Italy, but I'll get to more on that. We're on F1 in just a moment. Formula E suspended the first 2 months of the season, and then when we hit midnight earlier today, right now obviously 6:39 on the East Coast, this is where stuff started to come on in. Supercross was supposed to be in Seattle, I think, what was it, this weekend? Or no, March 28th. That's been canceled, so they're not doing that. And keep in mind, by the way, I should make this disclaimer because a lot of people sometimes get this confused. When I say canceled, suspended, or postponed, there's different meanings to each of those words, and that's pretty important to mention here too. Let's see what else here. We wake up in the morning. The World Endurance Championship was supposed to race the 1,000 miles of Sebring, not this weekend, but next weekend, because and it was going to be a super Sebring thing, as they call it, because they race with IMSA, they race along with IMSA for the 12 hours of Sebring. And 1,000 miles of Sebring was postponed to an unknown date. If someone does have it, though, in the chat, please let me know. And then in the morning, when I pretty much I actually had to get my car inspected earlier today. When I got to the inspection place, load up my phone, and big news in Formula One, a McLaren crew member tested positive for the coronavirus. The entire McLaren team, they've withdrawn their cars this weekend for the season opener down in Australia. There has been no word yet on if the race will be postponed or not. There have been some sources that say, a lot of sources, even like Sky Sports and BBC, they've said that this race is being postponed, but F1 or the FIA, the sanctioning body, they haven't released a statement on it. And then later on in the day, a few hours later, Homestead Miami Speedway, at first their mayor said that the race would be postponed if NASCAR was going to allow fans. And then NASCAR had announced that they would make a statement at 1 o'clock on what would happen in changes for the next few races, which would have been Atlanta and Homestead, which it was, and it could have been as well Texas and maybe Bristol. And then we got news at around 10:45 when I got it that the St. Petersburg Grand Prix would not allow fans in, so they canceled general admission. And then there would have been a press conference at 3 o'clock that would have said if they're still racing or not. And then continuing on, a report came in that the season opener in Australia was canceled. But like we said, we have not heard anything from Formula One or the FIA on that just. IMSA then, at around noon, they postponed the 12 hours of Sebring to the weekend of November 14th, and that will be the championship race in IMSA this season. So that will be interesting too. Another announcement, this comes from the NHRA. They were postponing, this weekend's Gator Nationals down in Gainesville, Florida, for the professional league. So that's like Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, the bikes, Pro Mod, all that stuff. Sportsman was competing earlier today without spectators. And then when 1:30 came, we got the news. The next two races would happen without fans. And by the way, yesterday Kelvin and I talked at the top of the show about the coronavirus. There were some media changes regarding it, and there have been more changes as well for the media. I don't think they will be able to be in conference calls now, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure on that. I haven't read all the official details on that. The Cup race could be postponed, by the way, because of weather in the forecast. And then we reach the 3 o'clock hour. This was the final story. Actually, you know what? Before that, we had some news from the ARCA Menard Series East. They're postponing their race they were supposed to have in Pensacola this weekend at Five Flags Speedway. IndyCar down in St. Pete. Race is still happening, just like NASCAR, though. They are not allowing fans. That's according to the St. Pete mayor. We did get another story as well regarding American Flat Track. I know a lot of you guys some of you guys watch that on Track Pass Gold. And that is at Daytona this weekend for, I think that's Bike Week. And they are not allowing fans at the track this weekend either. So let's just pretty much put this into perspective. NASCAR racing the next 2 weeks without fans. The World of Outlaws, by the way, they are moving forward. They're going to keep racing while closely monitoring the situation. IndyCar, no fans allowed in St. Pete, racing still on. IMSA's postponing the 12 hours of Sebring next weekend. The WEC canceling the 1,000 miles of Sebring. Now, that's kind of related. That's not really for concerns, but that's a lot of it related to the fact that President Trump stopped travel from Europe. For one, we don't know what's going on yet if we're racing or not. That's adding to the Chinese Grand Prix postponement. NHRA, the Gator Nationals for the professional series, they've been postponed. MotoGP as well. The race down in Austin, Texas was postponed yesterday, adding to the first two rounds of the season. Supercross, the Seattle round canceled. And Formula E, the season's been suspended for 2 months. Kelvin, the floor is all yours. This is just, man, if we still have him.
It's unfortunate. You and I both have tickets to upcoming NASCAR events in two different states. You're in Michigan. I'm going down to Talladega in Alabama the end of April, and now you're kind of having to figure out if those plans are going to be tossed to the side and you're not going to be allowed to go. I called my uncle this morning and was like, hey, just to let you know, we may not be able to get into Talladega at all. And it's just insane. It's unfortunate. Like, you spend all this money and then you see the statement that Atlanta lets out, and it's, we're going to credit you with a credit for any upcoming race in 2020 or 2021, and you're not offering a refund. As of yet, I don't know if that has changed in the last couple hours since I sent that statement to you. but it's the Formula One. Then you have that, and you don't know if that's even going on anymore. And you hear a mix of things going on, and it's okay. Well, what are we going to do? And now you're sitting here. What do you do when you're not at work? And you expect this to get worse before it gets better. It seems hour by hour, minute by minute, we're finding out something new is going on with this coronavirus, and it's just spreading like wildfire. New York City just declared a state of emergency already, and we just had our first case confirmed up in this area yesterday in Monroe County, and now we have to worry about that. And other livelihoods are being affected. It's not gonna just affect the NASCAR community. It's gonna go all the way down to the dirt track. The dirt track season is getting ready to start. It's like mid to late April they start. Are they going to start on time now? I mean, granted, yes, it's a smaller congregation of people, fans going to watch it, and I understand that the World of Outlaw series is still going, but it's an hour-by-hour basis. They can say they're still going, but until they're racing and there's fans in the stands, life as you know it will not be normal. You don't have anything to watch. Baseball is pushed back. NFL is pushing back a couple of things, but they're staying on schedule with free agency and stuff like that. The draft as of right now is still going on. You have nothing to watch if you're a diehard sports fan like most people are in the United States. You have nothing when you get out of work to watch now. So reality television and TV shows and sitcom TV is now going to be all you have, unless you're going to watch the news 24/7 and you're going to drive yourself crazy because all you're going to hear, because it's a serious thing. But I think we're going a little bit too far. I think running these without fans is probably the best bet for now. But now that you have players involved, all right, now you kind of have to pull it out, but do you have to cancel events altogether? No, I don't think you need to do that. Postponement's the way to go. Live Nation is the company that has already said we will not host any live concert or performance entertainment until at least the end of March. We'll reevaluate March 31st on what we're going to do come April 1st. And now you have this ban of 500 people in the state of New York. Anything over that, you can't have it anymore unless it's a private event, i.e. a wedding.
And it affected as well, speaking of New York, you just mentioned that, the Syracuse Motorsports Expo, for those of you guys that are like dirt fans up and live like up in the Northeast, that's affected. Same with the Syracuse Indoor Auto Race. That gets affected, and that's not going to happen. I don't think they can. I don't know if they canceled or postponed it. I'm not too sure on that, but we know it's not happening this weekend because I think you just mentioned it earlier. Cuomo announced a ban of gatherings of at least 500 people or more, and it's just a tough break. Like, if you're a sports fan, you're either going to have to watch a sport that a lot of people think is dying, which is not, and that people think is boring because they turn left, or do you want to watch one of the quietest sports ever in the PGA if you want to watch professional sports this weekend?
You still also have to remember, Marty, you still have the XFL.
That's
the XFL
true.
hasn't announced that they're canceled yet.
That's right. I forgot about XFL. They still got games going on this weekend. In fact, the Seattle game, I think, I'm pretty sure they're not doing any fans in the stands for that.
Yeah, I believe the XFL as of right now is still playing, but they're going to go fanless.
Yeah. But getting back to the motorsports topic, it's no surprise that with what happened in the NBA that this came, and NASCAR had to make a call, and it was a good call. Mentioning real quick, I think in my opinion, the NCAA may have overreacted taking out spring sports. I mean, I understand we don't know how long this is going to be with this pandemic. It's my first pandemic I've ever had to deal with in my life as well. But we just don't know how it lasts. I mean, I understand how it's going to last. I understand the decision and stuff like that, but it really does suck. I want to take a moment as well, and I apologize if I'm going to be rude, but I saw some race fans on Twitter as well, and as well on my Discord server, and I called them out because they would rather care about holding the race than postponing stuff and losing money. I'm just going to say this. At the moment, with what's going on, I don't give a damn about racing at the moment. I give a damn about the people and their health and their safety at the moment. Right now, racing does not come first. It comes second. We're all concerned about COVID-19, and we just got to wait to find a cure right now, pretty much. And Kelvin would probably say the same thing. He doesn't give a damn about sports at the moment. He cares about health and safety too.
Exactly. You look back to when the outpouring for Ryan Newman happened at the last lap of the Daytona 500. That's how you have to treat this right now, because if you go out and race, which they're going to do without fans in the stands, I understand that part. You really want to just continue on and say, all right, fans, we're sorry, but we're looking out for your well-being. But now if it happens and one person inside that NASCAR community gets this, NASCAR is shut down. I guarantee you that is what will happen, and they're trying to avoid that because it's such a long season, and they only have 5 weeks where they are off, and they probably don't have the flexibility to run a mid-race week where we all think that it's eventually going. I don't think they're ready to do a Wednesday or a Thursday night cup race to make up for missing 5 to 8 weeks of the season if somebody gets infected. So for the people to sit there and say, oh, well, yeah, blah, 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 all that stuff, you can't do that. You have to look at it that way, and it's not being able to call games and make a living. I'm going to take a hit. Everybody's going to take a hit, but the faster you take that hit, the better it's going to be in the long run for you and everybody else in the United States.
Exactly. And to those of you people as well, Kelvin and I were kind of talking about this earlier, that say, oh, but the flu is more serious and stuff. More people are dying from it. And it's worse than the coronavirus. I know coronavirus doesn't have varies in symptoms and stuff like that. But for those of you that are saying that, I'm going to call you guys out. I did not know you guys had PhD degrees. I did not know you guys were doctors. But,
it's kind of funny. You get all these WebMD doctors on Facebook now saying this, but you get on, you listen to ESPN, Fox Sports 1 today. They had medical professionals on there saying that this is far worse than the flu. The only reason it doesn't seem that way is because the cases aren't out there, and it sits so dormant for so long, up to 14 days to 10 to 14 days, it sits dormant in your body. And then boom, you wake up one morning like Rudy Gobert did yesterday, and you feel like death, and you're just sick. And yes, it's killing the older generation. It's killing older people. But guess what? I have older people I care about that I don't want to see die from a pandemic, i.e. coronavirus. I'm sure everybody feels that way, and everybody should have somebody that, like a grandparent or an uncle or an aunt, mother, father, so on and so forth, that may be over the age of 60 that could get affected by this. So to take this thing lightly is like Rudy Gobert was doing. Watch what Rudy Gobert was doing 2 days ago, touching everybody's microphone at a press conference as he's leaving, and he's being careless in the locker room, which his teammates have said he was doing. And now look at the repercussions of this. The NBA is shut down. Everything is shutting down, and some sports are going with no fans in the stands, trying to make their season stay on track. And the NBA, unfortunately, is not going to stay on track because the NBA is going to try and get in the remaining 25 games plus a postseason. So this doesn't affect just this year. This is going to affect the 2021 season as well.
Yeah, it affects as well, but because not just the NBA, but with the NCAA. This is because I just saw this on ESPN as well. This is going to affect the combines, the scouting combines. This is going to affect the draft as well this summer. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with all these sports. Like, we have a lot of questions that, won't get answered until we get more news and press releases and information and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's something we're not going to have any information on for. It could be a month before we find out what's going on. The NBA has said let's do 30 days. Is that what NASCAR is going to do? Are they going to run 4 straight weeks with nobody in the stands, and then the first race back that they're going to have fans in is Talladega? Is that how it's going to be? Are you going to leave fans in limbo that long?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to point something else out. I think you may have mentioned it earlier. I know you didn't mention the tweet, though, Kelvin. Jeff Gluck, one of the beat reporters from The Athletic, and Brett Griffin, the spotter for Clint Boyer, talked about this, and Brett had different viewpoints than Gluck. And Jeff said, Brett, if this spreads in the garage, everything gets shut down for at least 2 weeks. Look at the NBA and Rudy Gobert. People have to get quarantined if they're near the person who has it. The point is, a single person, yes, one person can bring everything to a halt right now in the form of motorsports. It can be a driver. It can be a crew member. It can be an owner. It could be a broadcaster. It could be a media member. Or it could even be a fan as well. One person could shut down motorsports.
Yeah, and that's what you have to worry about is, do they even allow media at the racetrack besides the Fox broadcasting team and the TV cameramen to shoot these races? And guess what? I think you see no driver interviews and you see no celebration in Victory Lane. I think it's going to be, here you go, here's your trophy, get back in your hauler and get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see just that. And once again, for those of you just joining us, my co-host Kelvin from RSN Trackside and I, we are discussing everything that happened in the world of motorsports today regarding the coronavirus, and anything you guys want to say about it. Once again, keep it to motorsports only, though, please, because I know some of you guys are talking about like NBA, NHL right now. If you guys have anything you want to say about it, let it out. Let it out. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Other regular sports fans would think that the saddest day in sports would be like the death of Kobe Bryant when 9/11 took place and stuff like that. There were a lot of talks as well on Sirius XM NASCAR radio. There's got some similarities to 9/11, but there's a lot of differences there as well, et cetera to this. But I still think with all the sports, professional sports canceling, some without the fans, and I apologize for the light, by the way. I'm a little bit overexposed. Let me turn off my TV. They're done, and the worst news we got, March Madness not happening this year, and all winter and spring sports, all the rest of the year is done for in the NCAA. Not a good day to be a sports fan, but I think we may just end the stream right here. Kelvin, I'll give you the last word.
It's unfortunate. It's said multiple times tonight. It's a really sad day in motorsports, and it's a sad day overall in the sports world. But at least we know we have racing this weekend and next weekend, and we'll see what happens here going down the road in the world of motorsports. Hopefully, it's better sooner than later. So, I hope everybody stays safe in this time, and their loved ones stay safe as well. My heart goes out to anybody who's been affected by this so far, yes, and I hope that we return to normalcy sooner rather than later.
I mean, someone just put it as well in the chat. I actually may keep this going, actually. For this virus, they could have a vaccine in 2 months minimal. I'm going to say, like I said earlier, race fans, Rox4, I did not know you were a doctor, and I want to know your source from that, where that came from. If it's from a trusted news source, I will most likely believe you. But again, when it comes to like the medicine, stuff like that, I'm not going to believe anything until I see some actual news and stuff like that. And I was going to say something else as well. I forgot what it was. Crap. I forgot. What did you just say in your ending statement? Trying to remember.
Just that my heart goes out to all the family members involved and anybody who's been affected by it, and that hopefully we get back to normal sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And I think the simplest call to action we can give right now after this, or the simplest public service announcement, wash your hands, cover your coughs, cover your sneezes, don't touch your face, etc., etc. Just stay safe, stay healthy. If you're feeling symptoms, don't do anything. In my opinion as well, don't make any unnecessary travels at the moment. Stay home. If you have to stay home, stay home. If you don't have to do anything, stay home. I mean, it's not really worth it. If you have to get stuff you usually get at the store, get it online or something like that. That's the pretty much simplest way to say the least. So we're gonna call it right here. Those of you that tuned in, I definitely appreciate you guys checking in and giving your thoughts on what's happening in the world of motorsports with the coronavirus. Thank you all, by the way, because you guys all heard about me, how I won't be able to commentate the Sweet 16 Saturday, and because calling the games for Brockport, that's pretty much my main job right now. Thank you guys for your support as well. I definitely appreciate it. Kelvin and I, though, most likely will be back next week for RSN Trackside. We'll talk more, probably more about the coronavirus stuff, because this is just the beginning. This is not the beginning. This is our country right now. And in the words of Ryan Ruckel at the end of his ESPN broadcast when Dallas played Denver, we all just got to work together and we'll get rid of this virus soon. Just got to find a cure for it and stuff like that. So, yeah. That's all I got for you guys. This weekend's going to be fun. Let's just focus on racing now in Atlanta. Going to be a fun weekend. We'll talk to you guys later. Till then, peace out.